This is episode 156 of the C10 podcast, and this week we're chatting with Tim Kluempers, who happens to be our August Blue KC Coach with Character honoree, as he's the head rugby coach at St. Thomas Aquinas High School, and has done a couple other things with the rugby here in the community. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But why are we talking with a high school coach, and what is this Coaches with Character thing? Well, I'm glad you asked. Since 2017, we've had a program in partnership with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City and the Kansas City Royals called Coaches with Character. Each year, we recognize 6 coaches who are making Kansas City a better place. This year, we're featuring the coaches on this podcast because who knows better about leadership, building teams, team chemistry, and so on than high school coaches. Tim started the Saints Rugby team in 2007. Under his direction, the Saints have won the state championship nearly every year. We'll talk about that here in a second. And they've competed on the national stage also. Before getting into coaching and starting the rugby program here in this area, Tim played for the US National Rugby team from 1996 to 2001 and for the Kansas City Blues Rugby team for more than 20 years. And by day, Tim is in business development for Budnick Converting. I know very little about rugby, except that we used to watch it on ESPN in the 70s and 80s, back when ESPN had very little of their own major sports, if you will, programming. And I know even less about Budnick Converting, so this should be a fun chat here with Tim. With that, it's my honor to introduce you to the August Blue KC Coaches with Character honoree, Tim Kluempers. Welcome to the C in the Major League Shed. Coach, how's everything going today?
Going great, man. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for doing this. You know, it's fun for me, just as we are involved with this program with Blue KC. It's fun to chat with each of you because we've been doing it since 2017. I think 2020, we might not have had any honorees, but just to think of all the coaches we've been able to honor with Blue KC and the Royals, and you're certainly deserving of that. And as I've read some articles out there about you and seen what was written about you on your nomination, it's certainly deserving. So I'm looking forward to these next few minutes here with you. So thank you for all that you're doing here in the community for just to help develop kids and help develop our next leaders here in Kansas City.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's the best non-paying job that I have. I love it. My wife is a school teacher, and I've always wanted to kind of be a coach and teacher. And I figured 2 of us can't be poor, so I went into business and sales, and then had this opportunity in 2007. After a shoulder injury, my daughter asked me to start a team at St. Thomas Aquinas. And I told her, I said, well, if you get the boys together for a meeting, then I'll coach. And showed up to a meeting and had 27 kids and said, all right, well, I guess we'll figure this out. And
Wow.
Kind of been going from there and having a ton of success and really enjoying working with the boys. And then we started a girls team last year. The girls wanted to do it, and same thing. You get the players together, we'll do it. And so now we do the girls in the fall and the boys in the spring.
Oh, that's awesome. And we'll talk more about those here in a second. We do like to kind of start these chats with what we call pregame batting practice, just a chance to get to know you a little bit better. So here we go. Question number 1. My hero growing up was?
My dad. I would say my dad, and from an athletic standpoint, maybe Otis Anderson from the St. Louis Cardinals, or Lou Brock from the Cardinals. I grew up in St. Louis, so those were kind of my guys, and even a little bit as Larry Zonka.
Yeah.
I played running back in grade school and high school, so
but
enjoyed
you
that.
were pretty quick though to mention your dad. So what was it about your dad?
My dad was always there for us. You know, we didn't have a ton of money, but he was always there helping us, always there coaching us, providing for the family. My mom stayed home. We had a lake house, and we went to the lake house every weekend, and you know, we had to do our chores before we could start riding our mini bikes, and we had a boat, and just the little family stuff from camping out and hanging out, and always kind of just remembering my dad was always there for us to support us and help us and guide us. sort us out when we needed to, and sometimes we needed that a lot. But ultimately, he was a great role model for me, and quite frankly, trying to emulate the same for my children now.
Very cool. Question number 2, if I could have one superpower as a leader, it would be?
Oh, wow. One superpower as a leader. Gosh, I wouldn't want to read their minds because I wouldn't know what they really thought. I think patience with the high school, making people listen.
Mm.
But, sometimes when they don't listen, that also creates a great opportunity to coach and lead as well.
Well, and it's funny you mentioned the reading of the minds or hearing what they're saying, because in our last episode, we talked with Jill Corder, who was the July Coach with Character honoree, and she's a girls golf coach. And that was her answer was, I wish I could hear what they're thinking. And I kind of laughed. I said, I don't know if I'd ever want to know what people are thinking or be able to hear. It reminded me of that movie, What Women Want, with Mel Gibson and Helen Hunt. But
exactly.
It can be dangerous.
Exactly.
Especially high school students.
Yeah. I mean, I think that would be really good for the times that they don't understand something, but you ask them if they understand, and they of course say yes.
Mm-hmm.
So now what I started doing is asking questions. Okay, well then repeat exactly what I said. If you understand, what is it? And then it's like, So now they're more apt to start asking questions and going. But yeah, that would be helpful and scary.
Yeah.
God.
Exactly. Question number 3, the thing that motivates me every day is?
Providing for my family and trying to make a difference in others' lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then question number 4, if I could meet one person in history, it would be?
I'd say Jesus. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing to see and understand and thank him for all his sacrifices that he's made for others.
Yeah. Very good. All right. So to kick things off here in the main part of this, tell me about 17-year-old Tim Kluempers.
Oh, wow. 17-year-old Tim Kluempers was pretty crazy, adventurous.
Mm-hmm.
Love the fact that we don't have social media and all that other stuff, and just going out and working all the time, playing sports all the time, working out, hanging with my friends, and raising a little bit of hell.
So what were your dreams and your goals at that point? Like, where'd you want to go to school? What'd you want to study? What'd you think?
I wanted to play in the NFL, like most kids.
Mm-hmm.
And really my dream was to play in the NFL and to do that or play at the highest level and be successful there. And then business, I was always pretty good at the gift of gab, and was going to go into business or some kind of business or sales. My dad was in sales too, so that helped a little bit.
So where'd you end up going to school?
I went to Benedictine up
Okay.
in Atchison, played football up there, and played for amazing coach and Larry Wilcox, and met some great mates from every age range. The beauty of the school is it's small. So you got to, you really got to know the seniors. And then when you were a senior, you really got to know the freshmen. It was awesome. Great family atmosphere, very competitive football, but really I just wanted to continue to play football. And that was an opportunity I had. I had a few opportunities to walk on at bigger schools, but thought this was the best opportunity when I met Coach and met some others. I'd be going up there.
Yeah, I've heard some amazing things, and I'll use this as a shameless plug for the school, but they're one of our partner schools for our scholarship that we offer in our C10 mentoring leadership program. And
okay.
President Menace, I mean, they're great, but I had heard so many great things about Coach Wilcox over the years that seemed like just an amazing individual.
He's an amazing individual, amazing man, great mentor. Learned a ton from him on coaching and how to treat people. And he knows every single one of his players' names. We'd walk in and there'd be 200 people there, and he would call you out by name. say where you're from, and then you would stand up and say what position you play. I asked him one time, I said, Coach, how the heck you do that? Why do you do that? He said he had a recruit years ago from Mizzou, and he asked the kid why he wanted to transfer from Mizzou to Benedictine. And he said, the coach doesn't even know my name. And from that point on, he worked his tail off and learned everybody's name. And
Wow.
we do that now. I do that in coaching now. And if kids don't know each other's names, they do 25 push-ups, and it's the same with the coaches. You got to know the kid's name. If kids are going to come out and work hard for you and sacrifice for you, the least you could do is know their name.
Mm-hmm. At the same time, that's also a gift. I mean, I can work hard at trying to know everybody's name. At 54, I'm certainly gonna bumble some here and there. But
oh yeah,
somebody mentioned this on a recent podcast episode that one of the things about Dayton that people admire so much or marvel at so much is just his ability to remember people's names and family situations and those types of things. A lot of people in that position have that ability, but it's definitely a gift, I think.
Oh, it's hard. And I mean, I'm in sales, and you go make a sales call and you have 3 or 4 people sitting in front of you. I always put their cards in front of me, in front of where they're at in order, because, the last thing you want to do is screw up a name.
Right.
But yes, it is a gift. And Coach Wilcox has worked really, really hard at that.
So at that point, what did you want to do in life?
For me, I met the love of my life at college. She was a couple of years older than me. I was studying business, started with accounting, and realized I didn't want to sit behind a desk all the time. So I went into business management and was going to do some kind of business from when I graduated, and then ended up getting married straight away after I graduated, and was working selling insurance for MetLife with Larry Busing, another Benedictine alum.
Mm-hmm. So how in the world, or when in the world, does rugby come into the picture for you?
So for me, I saw a few games when I was in high school at Swope Park. They always used to have a Easter rugby tournament. And so I saw a few games there, but then I graduated looking for something to do. Things didn't work out, obviously in the NFL, and that I read about it in a newspaper. And I read an article, and it said, if you're interested, call this number. So I called the number, and they said, yep, we're practicing at Volker Park, 6:00, come on down. And I told my wife, I said, I'm going to go play rugby. And she said, you don't know anything about it. And I said, that's where I'm going to practice. So I went out there and started playing. And the game I started playing was sevens. So there's only 7 people on the field. It's the size of a soccer field.
Oh,
I'm a bigger man, played offensive guard at Benedictine, and had a blast. The first weekend I scored my first try, played my first game, and actually got in my first fight. And I thought, man, this is awesome. I love it. But, it's too much running. It's way too much running. And they told me, hold on, wait till we get into 15s. That's more your game. And so when that came around, I started playing the game of 15s, which is an 80-minute game, but there's nowhere near as much sprinting and running. It's more of the wrestling, tackling, running the ball type things. Yeah.
I was watching a little bit of the rugby during the Olympics here recently. In some regards, it looked like basically football without all the pads.
It is. It's basic. Football came from rugby, and rugby came from soccer. People were playing soccer and they got bored and picked up the ball and started running. And so it is a combination of football and soccer, but continuous motion. And quite frankly, soccer players and basketball players really equate to the better rugby players because they're used to space. They're used to making a decision on the fly. In football, we're told everything to do. Go here, block this guy, do this, do that. But in rugby, we give them ideas of where we want to attack and how we want to do it. But ultimately, it's what's in front of them is what they do. I always ask them, what did you see? What did you see in front of you? Why did you make that decision? And then back yourself. It's really an awesome, amazing aspect where it's their game. It's their opportunity to go out and play and do their thing. And some, football players a lot of times have a hard time with that because they're like, oh, geez, I screwed up. I'm like, no, you didn't. what'd you see? Why'd you do that? I did this for this reason. Okay, great. Maybe look for this or look for that. Ultimately, it's their game. They want to go out and play, and whatever decisions they see and make, then they just go.
As you say that, it makes me think about business and leadership, because there's a lot of that crossover to where the really good leaders will tell their people, here's the direction we want you to go, but it's up to you to figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
And to go.
I had some great business mentors and business leaders, but a couple of them, they would go out and I would struggle in my sales deal. And then they would say, just listen to me. And they would do the whole presentation. And then it would be like, that's how you do it. Well, I'm not them. I'm not them. They wouldn't, hindsight, looking back at it, they should have made me talk and made me fail. And then as I'm failing, rescue me. And then we could have talked about it afterwards and guided me to give me a structure, but I got to tailor it to me. What's going to work for me? People know if you're authentic or not.
Right.
And if you're trying to be somebody else, you're not going to be authentic.
Yeah. So at what point did you think, hey, I think I want to be a coach? I think I want to take what I've learned in rugby. And I mean, obviously your daughter suggests you start at there at St. Thomas Aquinas, but what in your mind said, you know what, I think I want to take on coaching?
I've always enjoyed teaching, and I think part of my job in sales was I was a manufacturer rep. So I would go to different one of my distributors and I would train the reps to go sell my products. And my job was to work with them and try to motivate them to go sell my stuff instead of 3M or somebody else. And so it was kind of a coaching, teaching type atmosphere in that aspect of it. And then, I had a lot of success in rugby and really fell in love with it. And so it was like when this opportunity came, I thought, sure, I'd love to start a rugby team. Now, didn't know much, as far as I knew the game, but the key is how do I get the knowledge from here to here to my mouth where someone else understands what I'm trying to say and what we're trying to do. And that is the hardest aspect of it, is making sure that you take all of your knowledge and you could spew it all over them, but are they going to get it? Are they going to understand it? I still run into issues today. I always tell the boys, I said, after I say something, if you don't understand what I'm saying, please tell me. I mean, sometimes I think it's understanding perfect, but everybody else looks like I just got done speaking Swahili or something. They just don't know what the hell I'm trying to say.
Exactly. So what did you learn about yourself early in your coaching journey?
I learned that you have to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations. You have to be authentic. Mm-hmm. You have to really kind of put your heart and soul out there and make yourself a little bit vulnerable, but also have to be willing to learn and continue to learn, to help improve your trade. I mean, we as coaches, we always tell the boys and girls that we want them to work on their skills, but too many coaches don't continue to work on their skills as a mentor or take classes or leadership, or just try to learn different styles. The game evolves. It's really not about the game. It's about conveying to your athletes how to do what you're trying to get them to do. And I learned long ago that, or my big saying for me and my coaches is they don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You have to really connect with them and go. And I will say that getting into coaching, it was great. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to coach rugby. And I had a couple dads, a gentleman came up to me and he said, "You've changed my kid's life." And kind of looked at him and said, "What are you talking about?" And his boy was very confident. One of my mainstream in the first couple teams, we had a bunch of guys that could barely walk and chew gum. And his son was amazing athlete, but he lacked confidence. He lacked some things in his life, and working with him and building them up, it taught me that, hey, this is a hell of a lot bigger than just teaching them the game. It's about life skills and really working with them. And that kind of was my aha moment when he said that after the first year was, wow, okay, this is bigger than just the game. We could really make a difference in these young people's lives.
Has your style changed over the years?
Yeah. I think as I learn more, I'm evolving more. Before I was trying to almost coach it football style, where they had to do these certain things and be regimented in what we do. And now I'm more patient, more understanding of giving them a framework and letting them be them, because you're going to be a different athlete than I am, than someone else, and you have to kind of work with what you have and really kind of tailor your style and your game to the athletes you have. If you try to run a certain style, but you don't have the athletes, you're not going to be successful.
This is J.R. Buckner, President and CEO of First Federal Bank of Kansas City. We hope you're enjoying this week's conversation. For this week's Student Spotlight, I'd like you to meet one of the students in our C10 Mentoring and Leadership Program.
My name is Manny Dunn from Bishop Ford, and C10 is making an impact on my life by helping me better my communication skills and helping me become a better leader.
First Federal Bank of Kansas City is proud to make a donation this week to the Post-High School Scholarship Fund for seniors in the C10 Mentoring and Leadership Program. If you'd like to join us in this effort to give our future leaders an opportunity after high school, please click on the link in the show's notes. Now back to this week's conversation.
What's your key year after year of putting the right team together and getting them as a cohesive unit?
To me, it's about the culture. The kids know whether you're the best athlete or the worst athlete, we treat each other the same. Where I don't allow any of this superstar type atmosphere. In the game of rugby, it's about respect. Mm-hmm. And you respect your opponents, respect the referees, and respect your teammates. Respect is a big part of what I do and how I exist. I tell the boys from day one, I will respect you. I respect you because you came out and you are entrusting me and my coaches to teach you this game. I coach my daughter's volleyball in CYO. I never played volleyball, but we see it on TV and you understand it, so you can go coach it. I can go coach baseball. I can coach basketball. I wasn't very good at them, but you can coach them. It's hard in rugby that it's not on TV all the time. I mean, it's getting more and more mainstream, which is awesome. But for the longest time, they didn't know a damn thing about the game, but they just wanted to come out and play. And they might have been scolded at another sport and, got pushed away because of the culture or the attitude. And so I tell them from day one, I'll earn your respect, but you have my respect right now just because you came out and you're working hard. Now, of course, they're high school boys and they get out of line a little bit. I'll sort them out. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, you have to let them grow and develop and really try to thrive in a good, safe, fun atmosphere where they're not afraid to make a mistake. I tell them all the time, make a mistake in practice. That's how you get better. If you're perfect, then I'm not doing my job. I'm not pushing you. I'm not getting you to the next level of your athleticism and your ability as a rugby player if you're doing everything perfect. I mean, that's just silly.
Again, whether we're talking business, rugby, tiddlywinks, whatever, you're not going to get better unless you're failing.
Exactly. And it's hard for them, even with my own kids. Oh, Daddy, you're so smart. How do you know? That failed a million times. I've done that. I've acted like that idiot in high school and college. And I realized, hey, this is going to turn out to be a good life if I continue to act like this or do that. You want them to understand, to learn from my mistakes, but I also want them to go make the mistake. Now hopefully it's not too bad, but also they really, really learn when they go out and are able to experience it and make mistakes. Hopefully they never do it again if it's a disciplinary thing or an off the field thing, but ultimately that's how you learn.
Yeah. So I want to ask this question from two different angles, because we mentioned at the beginning that you were on the US national team for 5 or 6 years. And then obviously your teams at Aquinas have been really successful. So as a player, first off, what are you most proud of from your career?
I'm very proud to represent our country. I worked my tail off to do that. They paid us $50 a day and paid all our expenses, but I had a full-time job and children, and really 95% of the players that I played with really didn't have a professional job and weren't married. So I was really looking back at that. I'm most proud of being able to juggle all of those things and go out and have success. It was a lot of work, a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifices. My wife's absolutely amazing of all of the sacrifices that she made and we made as a family, so I could go pursue my dream of playing at the highest level.
And then as a coach, and we mentioned at the beginning, just kind of glossed over this, but your teams have been more than just a little successful. If my math is correct, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you've won, 15 of 17 state championships?
Yes. Yeah, we did. And in 2017, we won the high school national championship in Division II. And those are great. Those are amazing. But I'm most proud of when I, one, instill the love of the game, and two, teach them the ethos of the game, which is respect and camaraderie, and you take care of each other. And then I see kids coming back and they're married and they have kids and they're excited and they still talk about the great times that they had at rugby. And quite frankly, they remember the championships, which are great, but they remember, when Billy was an idiot at the hotel in St. Louis, or we did this, one day after we were playing, we'd go out to Dave and Buster's and they gave us all these tickets and all the boys got all these bouncy balls, and then they took them all into their hotel room and threw bouncy balls everywhere and acting like idiots. Now I made them clean it all up and tidy it up, but it's the fun, stupid stuff off the field that they do. Those are the lifetime memories that I really love and appreciate.
Yeah.
That they go and it's rewarding. Kids have said, "You've changed my life," and had a couple guys that, the good Lord always works in mysterious ways. And we practice in the wintertime. We practice at 5 a.m. in the gym, and we're there 2 days a week, and the boys keep showing up. It's like everybody else is like, "How the heck do you get them to show up at 5 o'clock?" And I'm like, "Well, it's kind of a rite of passage, and that's the only time we could get the gym." But they always show up, and I'll get mad one day because, there's 35 guys on the team and only 30 were there or whatever. And which, looking back, is so stupid. 30 kids got out of bed at 5 a.m. to come run in the gym and throw the damn ball around. And then all of a sudden I get in my car and I get a random text from a kid. "Hey, coach, Jack Casey just down in Arkansas, and I'm just thinking about you because I know you're probably coming out of your 5 a.m.s and, I really appreciate everything you did for me," and blah, blah, blah. And it's like,
wow.
Okay. It's just, it's just that reminder that you just, okay, we're good. We're fine. We want to get better every day, but if some guys miss one day, it's not going to ruin everything. But ultimately, it teaches them a little bit about discipline and getting up. And is it easy? No, it's not. I hate it. I'm not a morning person.
Right.
But when they do it, they feel that sense of accomplishment that really kind of propels them and helps them to be, hopefully someday good fathers and good husbands and good people in the community. That's what I'm looking to do.
Yeah. Well, as we come down to the last couple of questions here, I had mentioned earlier that you're in business development for Budnick Converting.
Yep.
What is Budnick Converting and what do you do?
So we are an adhesive tape converter and flexible materials. So we'll take any kind of substrates, whether it's a foil, a film, double coated tape or duct tape, and we can convert it into different shapes and sizes for customers to fit their needs. So when you get your cell phone and it has the protective film on it, Well, that protective film comes 60 inches by probably 5,000 yards on a roll. We'll take that and cut it down to those shapes and sizes so people can just peel like a label, peel it and put it on, peel it and put it on. And a lot of the stuff we do is inside the different components. I sell a lot to Whirlpool for refrigerators. There's a lot of gaskets and a lot of stuff in the guts of the refrigerator where we do. I sell Hallmark cards. If you get a package of cards, you open the bag, take a card out, reseal the bag. Well, we sell that tape. I've been in the tape business for 25 years. And, when I took the job, I lived in Omaha, Nebraska, and I really wanted to get back to Kansas City. And I had a headhunter call and said, we want you to sell for this tape manufacturer and blah, blah, blah. And I thought, I'll tape, what the hell? There can't be much to it. We do sell box tape, but our main thing is the specialty type items. And so I've been with Budnick for the last 18 years. And Ann Wegman, our owner, is absolutely amazing. She took the business over from her dad, Bud, and his buddy, Nick, who got together and they had the company Budnick. I mean, it's pretty simple.
Nice.
But Ann is our owner, and her daughter, Christy, now is starting to take over. And it's just an amazing company, family friendly. I have about 10 or 12 years left to work, and I don't see myself, as long as they'll have me, I'm not going anywhere else, because it's just such an amazing culture. She's built a family and a culture, and I can make a nice living. They understand that I want to coach. They know that I need to coach in order for me to be successful in business. It's a work-life balance, and it's what really kind of, they give me the freedom and allow me, as long as I get the job done, of course, to go out and coach and do the other things that I love.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And it's just in case anybody is listening to this thinking, man, I've got this widget and I need to figure out an adhesive for it. Is it just Budnick.com?
Budnick.com. Yeah, Budnick.com, and any kind of manufacturing, whether they, they have where they buy adhesive, any kind of adhesives. We do sell roll goods as well, but where we kind of set ourselves apart from other distributors is the converting aspect of it. Special size, if they're laying down a tape on a plastic extrusion and they have to change rolls every 5 minutes, we can make them a roll of tape that's 40,000 yards long. It's a big old tape. It's traverse wound in like a fishing line, and help. Really, our job is to increase productivity for them. So yeah, I would love it. Budnick.com. Call us, let us know. And if you're not in my territory, then I'll refer you to one of my colleagues who'll do a great job for you.
Very good. Well, finally, I asked you about 17-year-old Tim Kluempers. If you could go back today, what would you tell 17-year-old Tim?
If you continue to work hard, you'll have success. And it's the days that are hard and you don't want to do it. It's all worth it. It's all worth it. I think that all of the struggles that I thought I had, it all helped shape and develop you, and it's part of the process. And really, I would say, enjoy the journey. I was in Japan on Father's Day, earning my first cap for the US, and cried like a baby during the national anthem. But I wasn't sure if I was enjoying the journey to get there. It was amazing, but quite frankly, a blink of an eye, the game's over. You're like, wow, 80 minutes went really fast. And so being able to enjoy the journey, and understanding that hard work really, really does pay off. Not all the time, but more than not, it's gonna pay off.
So I'm guessing rugby's taking you to some pretty cool places.
Oh yeah. I've been to New Zealand, Hong Kong, Japan, Portugal, Spain, Wales, Ireland, Scotland, England, and all through Canada and the US.
And I'm guessing some of those places you've played in front of some pretty big crowds.
Yeah. I played in Wales and Scotland in front of 40,000 people.
Wow.
It was awesome. It was awesome. And I got to go to Bermuda a lot for the Old Boys Classic tournament, which is amazing in itself. When I was traveling for work, I could go to any city on a Tuesday or Thursday, reach out to the rugby club and ask them when their practice is, and show up to their practice and practice with them. And after practice, somebody want to go out for a beer and I'd have a place to stay. It's the mutual respect that we're playing a cult sport. You know, you really have to take care of each other in that aspect, but it's the camaraderie of the rugby world and a rugby community that's, to me, is just amazing. And it's really neat. My parents, you know, they'll wear a Saints Rugby hat and they'll come back and they're like, Coach, I was in Boston airport on a delay and I was in the bar and I had my Saints Rugby and this guy said, hey, do you play rugby? No, but my son plays and blah, blah, blah. And they just sit there and they're mates talking about rugby. It's really awesome. It really is. You don't run, when you run into a rugger, it's that mutual respect. You know, I mean, I played football since I was 7. You run into a football person, everybody plays football, you know, at some level. But I think the beauty of the rugby now is getting, you know, starting a lot earlier. I never had a chance to play in high school. And, you know, like I told you earlier with Matt Pochard, we have a youth league that we run in the spring, kindergarten through 8th grade, play flag and tackle and really kind of want to get the kids started at a really, really young age. And it's amazing. They become better football players, better soccer players, better athletes. I think sadly, we've gone away from the multi-sport athlete and it's so concentrated and focused on one sport that, you know, kids, if a kid plays baseball his whole grade school life year round, and then also gets to high school and is like, I don't like baseball anymore. Mm-hmm. I've never done anything else. Or I don't like football, or I don't like whatever. We're trying to open that door for another opportunity to play rugby.
Ruggers. That's a new term for me, ruggers.
Yeah. Hug a rugger.
Well, Tim, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for your time this week. And again, just thank you through this Coach with Character program. Thank you for all that you're doing in our community.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I really do. It you know, when I first got the email and the recognition, I thought it was spam and was reading through it. And I thought, oh, tickets to the Royals game. That's cool. Dinner. That's cool. Interview on the radio. That's cool. Social media stuff. Oh, that's cool. Throw out the first pitch. Oh, no. Because I haven't thrown a ball overhand in a long, long time. But the cool part is my son, he plays rugby in college and they're on trimesters. So he doesn't go back till September 20th and he's gonna catch.
Nice.
Yeah, which I'm really stoked about that. My sisters are bringing my dad up from St. Louis. So it's, I'm really, really excited about it. A little nervous on the pitch, but I've been practicing. So I just hate when everybody says, oh, don't bounce it. Don't bounce it. So I've been working, continue to work hard, but I don't want to work too hard and throw my arm out because, you know, rugby, everything is thrown underhanded. But, you know, throwing the baseball I got to really concentrate and work, beat up shoulders, throwing it overhand.
I will say, if you go to the top of the mound, if you go to the rubber, just remember to throw high.
So I've had some of the boys have helped me, and I've had some of the coaches, guys that have played. John Coates, one of my dads, played at UNLV. He said, are you going to throw from the mound? I said, of course I am. He said, well, you better stand on the mound. So at school, the baseball coach has been amazing. I've been practicing at Aquinas from the mound. So nice. Yeah, the first time I got on the mound, the first 10 or 12, I was bouncing. I'm going, oh my God, what's going on? What am I doing? But yeah, it's different. And I'm glad that I got that advice to do it.
Although it would have been cool if they'd let you just take a rugby ball out and just, you know, you could.
Well, and you know, I really want to. I would love to be able to take a rugby ball and throw it, but I'd also want to throw the baseball. I don't know how much time I have, but I gotta ask somebody because I have been working on my pass from the pitcher's mound, and I can hit that no problem.
Oh, exactly.
It's just the baseball's the one that makes me nervous.
Exactly.
But it's going to be awesome. I'm really looking.
So thank you so much for this, and best of luck with that first pitch.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Well, that does it for this episode of the C10 Mentoring and Leadership Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, we hope that you'll leave a favorable review on your favorite podcast platform. If you didn't enjoy it, or you have other comments or suggestions for potential guests, you can click on the comment link in the show's notes. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss an interview. And if you or your company would like to help underwrite this podcast, let me know. Until next time, this is Matt Folks for the See You in Major Leagues Foundation saying be safe and take care.